Welcome to Author's Tales, where we go beyond the words and into the heart of the storyteller.
Every book holds a story, but beyond the pages lies something even greater: the journey. The long nights, the countless rewrites, the moment when doubt whispers and passion shouts back louder. This is where authors share their truth, the struggles, the breakthroughs, and the moments that made them believe in their story.
If you love a great story or dream of writing your own, you're in the right place.
Because every book has a voice, every author has a tale, and the best stories, they don't just get told, they get lived.
This is Author's Tales, where stories come to life. Good morning, Alka. Thank you for being the exceptional guest that you are, and I am excited to talk about your incredible book. How are you this morning?
Amazing. Thank you so much. It's so great to see you again, Sifu. It's awesome to be on your show. Thank you for the invite.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I am excited to get into your book, right?
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
take a look. You need to pick this book up, right? It's From Cocoon to CEO. Let's talk about your book. What was your inspiration when you decided to help other people through the journey that you went through?
Absolutely. The inspiration for the book literally came about when I found myself in the dark place after my marriage was dissolved. And, I never want anyone to go through what I had gone through. And in that moment of my life, it was traumatic, and how my marriage dissolved, and it left me broke. It left me financially, emotionally, mentally broke. And to navigate my life, was the most difficult. And for many women, yes, it can be difficult as to how do we navigate our lives during those traumatic moments. So this is where the inspiration from the book came about, that it does not matter. You're an entrepreneur, you're a single mom, you are making your life, you're making ends meet for your children. So from cocoon to CEO, because I was inside a cocoon, and for most of us, being inside a cocoon, I was never allowed to be heard. I was seen but not heard. And I think we need to change the narrative, Sifu, as to how women need to be seen and heard, and to do they're multifaceted and the multidimensional, but we need to be able to see that and to appreciate as to the woman we are becoming.
Yeah, I love that. When you consider plus, you were just telling me before, you actually got the foreword by Les Brown.
Yes.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about that? That was pretty interesting.
Absolutely, I can. So the reason how Les Brown became too full with my book, I met Les about 8 years ago, and I flew to Atlanta to work with him. And during the process of working with him on one-on-one, Les said to me that I should write a book. And this is how it came about, that he helped me. I got a ghostwriter to write my book. And it was such a phenomenal experience just having to write a book. It's my first book. But that experience in itself to write in, it was just phenomenal. And, I would just highly recommend, if you're looking to write a book, the process in itself is so exciting. So this is how Les forwarded my book.
I love it. I love it. I also love the cover, and it's so subtle, but besides the coloring, I love the coloring. I love the fact that there's butterflies, but they're
Mhm.
faded, they're different colors because butterflies are so colorful. Uh,
Right.
and when you go from cocoon to CEO, what's the real message behind that title?
Yes, absolutely. Great question. The message behind going from being in a cocoon, you're trapped, you're in a bubble, you're no matter how hard you try to get out, it's like a vortex. It just sucks you in, and it sucks me in every time I wanted to escape. And the how to get from being in the cocoon to CEO, the transformation period is the key, is the
Mm,
transformation. Are you willing to transform? And chapter 4 in my book, Becoming a Butterfly, it
mm,
exemplifies simply that, Sifu.
right.
Become a butterfly. Because the transformation period, a butterfly, we see it goes through various stages. As women, we also go through the stages. From being in a cocoon, I was sheltered, I was protected, but this is what it happens when you're inside a cocoon. But the cocoon stage is never meant for you to last forever. So you've got to go through the stages in life. And this is how I I blossomed. But how do you blossom? How do you go from being a zero, you're broke financially, mentally, and emotionally broke, to a CEO?
Mm,
Got to transform, you've got to evolve, you've got to escape. You cannot, in life, we cannot have, we want that life that we desire, the life of success, the life of wealth. We can't have it unless you're willing. You're willing. And what I share in my book also are the tools of the determination, the courage that it takes itself to get out and say, enough is enough. So I
mm.
think for me, the key is the transformation period that you have to go through, that you're willing to go through and evolve into the person that you are always meant to be.
Yeah. One of the things that I loved when I opened up your book, you highlight it. I highlight I,
I did.
everything in yellow you did, but I did the orange, and then you also wrote notes. And I love that because as an author, you want to be able to let people know what's important, but not every author is going to do it. And you did that for me. So I was very thrilled. But I also added my own, right? Because certain things stood out for me. And I think that when we can take a book and go through it, right? And start going, whoa, this speaks volumes to me. I need to highlight it. And I use different color highlighters, and in your book, you can tell we have different highlighters and so forth going
Yeah.
on. But I also like the fact that you left space for somebody to write notes. Maybe what is it that they understood when they were reading your book? Why is that important?
That's important because at the key moments in a book, you want to highlight, but then you also want to make notes, because when we put pen to paper, there's an energy that happens. So it's not putting pen to, like, on your phone, no, because that has a different kind of energy. But when you put pen to paper and you are taking as to what really stands out from what you've read, what chapter really highlights from you, then that is the kind of energy that you want. So when we take notes, there's an energy that already begins to happen, that now you are able to implement on what you've read, but also what you've taken notes, the highlighted points, and
Mm.
you're able to implement on that. So you have to take notes, and that's why in my book I curated it this way, so that the chapters flow with also like an assignment, so that you can take notes, and in this way then you can implement on what you've read. So I always believe that, if you what you've read, but then you're implementing on what you've read, then that is magic in itself.
It totally is. One of the things that I do is usually when I pick up a book, I use my Remarkable too. I put the title and then I put all the takeaways that I got from the book. So
Right.
that book is still living for me, because to me, your story, you went through it, but I want to thank you for sharing your story that will empower people. And I know that your focus is on helping women, right? Um,
Yeah.
so, and when you say you draw attention to women who need to feel empowerment, taking steps to be the best version of themselves. But I got to tell you that your writing allows for men to do the same. Because some men may find themselves in a situation maybe even similar to yours.
Absolutely. I mean, predominantly, yes, I want to work with women, but that's not to say that men also find themselves
Mhm.
in the same situation. So, is individually, I think men and women, what we are experiencing, what we go through, in those toughest moments, through a divorce, a trauma of any kind, a divorce really has an impact, a lasting impact, and certainly when I was divorced,
Mm.
it really left a really an impact, a traumatic impact in my life that, now I was left alone. I was left alone to navigate my life, to make my life the way I've always wanted. And, unfortunately, those dreams, the aspirations that we once had to come to a country to make your life the way that you had dreamt of, to being with someone forever. But sometimes those moments don't always last. But when it doesn't, what are those life lessons? And then Sifu, I always believe that no matter what we go through, it's a learning experience. Your
Yeah.
life, it's a learning experience. And I would not be here with you on your show sharing my message, my story, if it wasn't for the experiences. And life teaches you so much as to, what you need to do. So in those moments that we find ourselves in those difficult situations, is how do you pick yourself up and move on? Don't be a victim of a circumstance, because your circumstance, your setback, is your comeback to becoming
Mhm.
stronger now, men and women.
Yeah, I love it. When we consider um, going from cocoon to CEO, it was not an easy journey for you.
No.
And it's not for anybody else either. Everybody thinks like, "Oh, look how successful they are. They must have been born this way," or something like that. But you took it head on, and you did do your due diligence. You worked it out, so that you can shine, so that you can be there. But tell me, along the way, were there people pulling you back?
Sifu, in life, no matter what, you and I are aiming for the success that we desire. And Sifu, I want to acknowledge you for all the success that you are having. But along the journey of our journey, Sifu, we want to, anytime we want to aspire to achieve the success, go after what we want, people are always going to say to you, and I know when I first started my first business in the health and fitness space, I opened a boutique fitness studio
Mm,
6 years ago. In my family would say to me, well, why do you need to work hard? Oh, I don't think this is the best route for you. I don't think you should do this.
mm,
But family, friends, people are going to say to you, no, I don't think you should do this. Why are you working so hard? Why are you doing this? But I didn't listen. And that's what happens when you are following the path that you want to follow, no matter what endeavor that may be, in the health and fitness, or anything, real
mm,
estate, anything. You have to follow your gut, follow your intuition, follow the path that you are aiming for that success. Because if you listen to the external noise, you will not achieve anything. And then, you will have regrets. And that's one thing also. I always go after what I want. And that's my motto today. I go after what I want, and I don't listen to people. I follow my intuition. I follow my gut, what it's telling me. And, as Nike says, just do it. Because if you don't do it in life, you will always have this regret.
Yeah. I love this part right here, that you draw attention, right, to the fact that to die in a way to give birth to the greatest you. I love that
Yes,
because you can't keep doing the same things over and over and expect different results, right? That's they call that insanity, right?
right. Yeah.
So you kind of have to like choke that other you and get rid of them so that you can transform. Tell us, how difficult was for you to let go of that person that you used to be.
Yes. That was, the, what was the difficult part was when we don't accept who we are.
Mm,
When we don't accept who we are, and you have to let go. When you are becoming the new version of yourself, when you are becoming the woman who is meant for more, who is destined to have a life of success, life of her dreams, you have to let go. And the fact that you have to die, metaphorically speaking, you
mm,
have to die, you have to let go. And we can never progress in life, we can never become that woman that we were always meant to be, evolve into the gorgeous butterfly. And I always love to have the motto of a butterfly, because when you see a butterfly, it starts with a caterpillar, and then it
mm,
metamorphosizes into a butterfly. It doesn't become a butterfly straight away. It goes through stages, just like you and I, we have to go through stages. So let go of the past. And for me, that was very difficult to let go.
mm.
I was holding on. But then when I knew, when I went deep in internally to, say, well, I want to be this woman who was meant for more.
Mm.
I had to. I had to go within, ask myself the questions, and then slowly I was able to let go. So it wasn't instantaneous. It took time. But
Right.
like with anything, it has to take time for you to be the butterfly you're meant to be.
Love it. Love it. And it's so I want to share this with everybody because this one here, right, in particular, it 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 lets everybody know that they can actually pick up this book and they can start their own journaling inside the book. They can start
Absolutely.
highlighting their own books. So everybody, just I know you may be watching this or even on a replay or whatnot. Take out your phone, hit hit your camera and get this QR code in there, and it'll take you to the Amazon. You can buy it. But here's the biggest takeaway that we all have to do is we have to support Alka because her mission is to help others, right? And when we help other people reach out and they become part of our mission. They help us. So do me a favor, everybody, take out your phone, click away, go get this book, do it today. Do not be a procrastinator and get it today. Don't say, I'll get it next week. Do it today. So, Alka, when you go out, and maybe people recognize you, they're like, oh, you, the author, you wrote this book and you're doing this and you're doing that. How does that make you feel?
That makes me feel absolutely, I feel elated. But Sifu, with all the adoration that I receive, that we may receive, do not let that get to you. And the reason why I say that is when I receive the adoration, and when people see me, I don't let that get to me. Because why? Because I want to stay humble.
Mm,
And there is beauty in being humble. And when I am humble, I want to be in gratitude. And I'm in gratitude right now, being on
Mm,
your show, being with you, Sifu,
appreciate
because being in gratitude really allows you to blossom even further, really allows you to the mission that I'm on to helping women. It really allows you to explore yourself even further. So I want to always be humble, to acknowledge everyone, to acknowledge, everything that I have today. And, so being in that moment really helps me to empower people even further. So being in that space allows me to be more and to do more as well.
I love it. I love it. So everybody, yes, pick up your book. Click on this link and definitely get your book because it's going. And remember, when you get the book, it's going to be this book, right? Because Alka, you've also co-written books with other people, but I want to focus just on this book because this book talks about literally a down point in your life where things happen out of your control, but to go from cocoon to CEO, that's holding on to the reins and saying, you know what? I'm going to guide this horse. I'm going to guide this chariot. I'm going to know what path I'm leading on.
Right.
So as difficult as that was, and it does get bumpy along the way as you clearly defined that for us. What made you realize that your jam was to be you're helping everyone, we know that, but you primarily want to focus on helping women.
Yes.
Why is that? Why is that?
I want to help women because most women, when we experience life's challenges, in divorce is the biggest challenge
Mm,
that we all experience. And when a woman is experiencing divorce, because let's face it, Sifu, life throws you curveballs. Life certainly threw me a curveball.
mm,
But I was, when my husband told me we're getting a divorce, well, my world turned upside down. What was to do? I was to, I did not want to be a victim and stay
mm,
in that victim mode because when I am was in that victim mode, I am disempowered. And yes, I was disempowered, but I knew I had to rebuild my life, reclaim back my power. And this is what I talk about in my keynotes, how to reclaim back your power life after divorce. Because, life is going to throw you curveballs, whether it's divorce, whether it's trauma, whether it could be anything. And when you find yourself in a curveball, life is meant to also test you. So, Sifu, when I was going through that difficult moment in my life, it was testing me that
mm.
am I strong? Am I strong enough to have the courage to say enough is enough? I'm bursting out that cocoon.
Mm.
So life is going to throw you curveballs, but life is also there to test you. So I want to help women because women are seen but not heard. It does
Oh,
not matter what you are going through silently in your life, to know that you have someone in your corner to help you who's been there. And, life is beautiful on the other side, but life can only be beautiful if you are willing and you don't wallow in being in the victim mode, but to be courageous and to step out the cocoon.
wow, that is so powerful. I got to tell you, you made me think about all the women out there who are holding down the household, taking care of the children. They're building an empire as well. And then they're uplifting their spouse. they're some of them are trophy wives that just come dressed and just be there and don't say anything, right? And I hate seeing that because to me, women are so powerful. I see you as such a powerful woman, and God bless you
Thank
for
you.
realizing that you are worth more than just a wife, right? I hate that. It should be the term partner or wife should be turned into uh, co co CEO, right? Because it takes two. I mean, a family is a unit; it's a business, but most of the time, it's the man who gets recognized for all
Mhm.
of it,
Right.
right? And then the women are there to support them and, maybe have dinner ready or take care of the children and deal with school and everything else. And the man, he's got one job, and
Right.
women have multiples of
Mhm.
jobs, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to me, every mom out there to me is a superhero. So young lady, I see your cape, and it's flying beautifully.
Oh, thank you, Sifu. I appreciate you. You know what? Absolutely, there's absolute truth in that what you shared. Because as women, yes, we are capable of doing and achieving so much more, not just in our careers, but generally, we can do everything. But unfortunately, society, life, partners, we don't get acknowledged as to the potentials we have. We don't get acknowledged and we always get put down, but oh, but you can't do this. Oh, why do you think you deserve this? There's all people are always saying things like that. And that also really frustrates me because I feel why can't women do everything?
Mhm.
We are the boss of the household, but we can be the boss. We can be the boss not just at work, but at home. And I don't mean that you got to wear the pants and dominate the man. No, I'm not saying that. But we can do it all. But give us a chance, and I think that is the key here as well. From Cocoon to CEO was the title was is just that when you were inside the cocoon, you were trapped inside the cocoon, and there was no way for you to get out. You were protected, you were sheltered, etc. And you want to be a CEO. Yes, you can be a CEO. Give yourself the permission. You can be the CEO. And I think that's the key too, also, that giving yourself the permission, knowing that yes, you are worthy of being a CEO. Because if you don't give yourself the permission and you don't acknowledge yourself, see, for then who will acknowledge you,
Ooh, yeah.
right? So
Who
you got to
will?
be,
Yes.
you got to be kind to yourself.
You have to because when it winds up happening is and even for men, right? It doesn't matter the person, but it's you have to know your own worth, and if someone else is not recognizing that worth, then we should remove them from our life in a nice way, right? In a nudge, right? Or find the people that realize that you are worthy, right? That they respect you, that they
Mhm.
understand you. I'm going to share with the audience right now one of the things that you have done that's really beautiful, right? That you have put processes, blueprints to take you where you can anywhere you want to go, giving you the rise to women in control of their life. I love that. When you talk about blueprints, you're talking about step by step, or is it? But it's based on every individual, right? Because some people need to take this step instead of that step. Maybe they already have some steps along the way when they meet you. But
Mhm.
how do you help somebody create their own blueprint?
Absolutely. So the way that I help women is to first of all find, and when I talk about blueprint, it's exactly that, is the steps that I take them through, I
Mhm.
guide them, and the steps that I really help them to, first of all, to acknowledge who they are, because that is the starting point. You've got to acknowledge who you are. And it doesn't matter what you may be experiencing, but you've got to, first of all, know who you are. And then, second of all, I help them to find the courage that they have. And how can they find the courage? You have to go within, which is what I did. I went within, and that was a long process. It took a long time for me to really open up, because before that I was an introvert. I didn't want to be around people. I didn't want to you know be around anyone at that time.
Mm.
So I had to seek internally, go within, and this is how I slowly began to find the strength, and I slowly began to find the courage. So these are the steps that I help them. First of all, you got to know who you are, this gorgeous woman
Mm.
who has a lot of potential, who is capable of achieving so much. She was snubbed. She was not acknowledged as to what she is capable of achieving. Nobody told her that. And
Mm.
so I help them, I want to help you to really achieve and take you through step by step, knowing who you are, and then finding how you can build the courage. And that is the strength that you will have, but you've got to go within, is what I help them take.
Ah, love it, love it. Alka, earlier you talked about your keynote. That means that you're a professional speaker, and I love that. When you're on stage,
Yes.
what is your mission?
When I'm on stage, it's the most powerful
Mhm.
feeling that I have, and I share with you as well, Sifu, and to the audience. 2024 was my highlight, and 2024 was a busy time. I mean, I was traveling, but one of the highlights for me, I spoke at Oxford. And I spoke at St. Hugh's College, which is where the suffragette, Sifu, I'm not sure if you know, but that's where the suffragette movement actually took place, in Oxford at St. Hugh's College. So how appropriate that I was speaking on women's empowerment at St. Hugh's College. So I just wanted to share that.
That's
But that was such a great highlight because, when I was speaking at Oxford, or whenever I do speak on stages, my mission is to help that woman who is listening, who is experiencing difficulties in her life. She is stuck in her relationship. And this is what I want to help women who are stuck in relationships, how to navigate life's difficult challenges. Because you could be successful, you could be a high powered, high achiever in your career, but, you know, and you are wondering as to why everything is falling apart in your career, in your position that you hold right now. Because
mm,
what is happening is internally, you are dissatisfied. And this is the worst place that anyone can be in, because what is happening in your personal life is going to affect your career, tenfold. And so this is what I help women to, how they need to get out of being unstuck, to being stuck in a relationship, to being unstuck, so that you live a life of happiness and fulfillment.
wow. Oof. Powerful young lady. Powerful, powerful. You and I met through a mutual friend. Actually, I was speaking, and then you said I need to meet him, right?
Yes.
So that was incredible because then I got to meet you, and I'm like, I want to know more, right? Um, so the feelings were mutual. When we encounter another person that is shining, right? How do we help them shine even more?
Absolutely. And I think, there's always power in multiples,
Mm,
because if you're shining, I want to help you. I want to, and the way we can do that is to elevate,
Yeah.
elevate one another. Because I believe, Sifu, that, as entrepreneurs, no matter what the success we are having, is to not compete. I think, there's a bigger table that we can all sit at, and to elevate, to really acknowledge one another and say, I see you, you're doing awesome. What can I do to help you on that journey? So I think adding value is one of the best ways that we can all help one another, adding value. And, and I love that, because the table is so big.
Mhm.
Why sit at the end when you can sit in the middle of a table and be around everyone who is powerful, who is, like-minded as you and
Mm.
I, that we can share, and we can say that, I want to help you. How can I help you? So I think letting people know how they can help you, how you can help them, is one of the best ways. And, as entrepreneurs, we need to do this more. So elevate, support, add value is the best way.
I love that analogy of sitting at the table with other like-minded people. But I
Yes.
also say that if you see someone, right, and even if they're higher level than you, it's always even important to highlight them and help them, because they'll keep pulling you up as well. Because it's not just you know people at the top. They don't want to be there by themselves. It's lonely. It's boring too.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Right. So, and for me, it's important to to be able to talk to, and that's why I created this show, because to talk to somebody, not only because they wrote a book, they took the time, they took their energy,
mhm,
because I think a book, if it sits on a shelf, is a powerful thing, but only if you open it
yeah,
and read it. So
right.
I'm encouraging everybody to go ahead and take a look at this incredible book that you need to pick up. And the best way you can do it is by hitting that QR code. So yes, and connect with Alka. She's sending you to Instagram, because there she posts things and she does all these great, incredible things. So think about it. When was the last time that you picked up a book and you actually heard the author speaking on it? That's why I created this show, so I can have Alka here with us, so I can have people understand the value of listening to the actual author explain her book. One of the things that I loved is that you said chapter 4. And when I went to chapter 4, that's exactly one of the chapters. That's chapter 4. I highlighted that bad boy.
That's
Oh, that,
amazing.
oh, that bad girl, right? And I becoming a butterfly, right? What you without me knowing, you picked that one, and I love that chapter. So
Well, that's telepathy right there.
that's it,
Telepathy.
right? But also great minds think alike. You wrote it, I read it, and I understood it, right?
Yeah.
What do you go back and read some of the things, because sometimes life gets hectic, life gets crazy. You're doing amazing things since you've written this book,
Thank you. Thank you.
and you keep elevating yourself, and people keep pulling you up. And don't get me wrong, people are going to want to still pull you down, because that's just the way life is.
Right.
So do you ever go back to your own book and reread certain chapters?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I go back, because every time, just because you've written a book, it doesn't mean that, you've, um, because when I go back each time to reading my book,
Mm.
there are always different information that I'm, learning as well. Like with the audience, I'm learning too. And when I'm learning information as to, oh, maybe, the transformation period that I had to go through in my life, this is what I did. But maybe, other people, their transformations, their experiencing that they have gone through can also be similar, or it could be slightly different. So, this chapter 4 that you and I have read, becoming a butterfly, becoming a butterfly, yes, when I go back, it really helps me. Wow, the butterfly that I always wanted to become is here.
Mm.
I'm here. But just because I'm here doesn't mean I have arrived, because we are always evolving. And this is what I also find every single time when I read my book. Wow, there are always wow moments. And those wow moments, right,
Yeah.
is telling me that, yes, I need to keep on doing more. It's not to be satisfied. It's not to sit on my laurels and say, wow, I'm here and now I'm doing nothing. No, I want to elevate myself, because when you and I elevate ourselves, we are setting ourselves, we are saying our subconscious that there is more to come. And
Mm.
when there's more to come, isn't life a happy place? And this is what you need to be, in a happy place, because as to the potential that I state in my book, the potential that women have to achieving so much. So, yes, I always go back, and because there are different information at different stages that I'm also discovering.
Ah, beautiful, beautiful. And when you go back and do you go, oh yes, right? I remember that. And does it ever make you think like I have regrets. I wish this didn't happen. But do you, or do you say to yourself, I wouldn't be who I am if this didn't happen?
Absolutely, it's a ladder. I would say to myself, if this didn't happen, if I didn't go through life's difficult challenges, difficult moments, then I wouldn't be on this show sharing my story.
Mm.
So I always look at it, the latter part of my life, because as I stated, life always throws us curveballs. And if life did not throw you curveballs, if life, it's never linear, it's always ebbs and flows of life. But life is there to teach you. Life is there to tell you, hey, Alka, there is still more to do. There is still more for you to do. You have not, you're not going to sit there and say, hey, I've arrived, because you haven't. And this is what I love about it, Sifu, is that I always say to myself, Alka, no, you have not arrived. There is still more for you to do. And you will still arrive when you have done everything that you set out to do.
Mm.
So I would look at it that way. I never look at it, as you said, oh, no, do I have regrets? No, I never want to look at life that way, because that is still being in a victim mode.
Mm.
That you're wallowing on what you didn't do, so you have regrets. But rather take the bigger road and say, you know, this, what is happening to me, I take it, but what do I learn from it? Because life throws us curveballs, but life is also meant to teach you. And what do you learn from life in itself?
Yeah, incredible. And I love the answer that you gave us. You know that you become the best version of you by understanding what you've gone through and
Yes.
not forgetting, if anything, right?
Hmm.
So I also like this, right? The footnotes of the book, if you look at the footnotes of the book, right, they were written for you to increase the possibilities of living the life you desire.
Right.
What if it's not just desire, but you deserve?
Wow, that's a great point. Yeah, absolutely. Life, you always deserve what you want in life,
Mm.
and you deserve to have. But what you desire and what you deserve to have, you have to ask yourself the question, is what I had to ask myself the question. Stepping out, bursting out from the cocoon to being on the path to becoming a CEO of my life, of my destiny, required that I deserve to have the life to becoming a CEO. So that's my deservedness. But then my desire to step out of the cocoon to live in the life of success is my desire. But then in between, we have to ask ourselves the question, am I worthy enough to achieve it or to having the life I want or the life I desire? And you got to ask yourself the question, ladies and gentlemen, are you worthy enough to have? Because once you acknowledge that you are worthy enough to have the life you deserve and desire, life will open up to the life of possibilities, life that you truly deserve to have. So you got to acknowledge yourself, worthiness. Have go within, as I always, have done in myself, in my life. Go within, ask myself the question, my self-worth, am I worthy? And when we are really satisfied at that point that yes, we are worthy, then we shall have the life that we want and that we deserve. So desire and deserve, yes, you can, anyone can, but you gotta know, are you worthy? Ask yourself the question. Are
Yeah.
you worthy of that life?
Yeah, I love it. Okay, I got to tell you, wow, you're such a pleasure to have on the show.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you for being here. And we encourage everyone to go ahead and pick up this incredible book. You need to get it. So there's a QR code. Pick up the book, and guess what? Read it, journal about it,
Mhm.
develop who you were meant to be. Because God, I believe in God, and I know that He wants us to be the best versions of ourselves.
Yes.
Alka, you are a
Absolutely.
blessing, my dear.
Thank you so much, Sifu. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for having me on. It's such a great pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody, do me a favor. Go ahead and reach Alka. Go to her Instagram, Alka Sharma, CEO. It's that simple. And if you're not on Instagram, how else would they be able to find you?
I'm on Facebook.
Okay,
I'm Alka Sharma. Yes.
nice, beautiful, beautiful. All right, everybody, have yourself an exceptional day, and make sure you pick up Alka's book. Alka, just hang out for a minute, everybody. Enjoy, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Next show is April 21st. Everybody have a beautiful day. Take care.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Thank you for watching Authors Tales. Stay updated and meet new authors. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Sifu Rafael TV. Follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn, and visit our website. Your support means the world to us.